Hello and welcome to Granada Reports. We are live with the news in the northwest.
Hello there. Here's what's on the programme this evening.
The pain and anguish of losing their only child. The service to remember 9-year-old Alice, victim of the Southport stabbings.
An inquest opens on the 3 young girls. The court hears they will be missed beyond any description.
Jailed for their parts in the violence disorder on Merseyside. One got 3 years behind bars.
Also on tonight's programme. Could theatre art help pupils facing exclusion from school?
The Health Centre using our love of the seaside to create a positive new experience for younger patients.
And if you were starting to think the sun had gone down on summer, I have news of its brief return coming up later on.
So please stay with us. First tonight, the inquest into the deaths of 3 girls killed while attending a Taylor Swift-themed dance class in Southport has opened and adjourned.
Alice Da Silva Aguiar, BB King and Elsie Stankham were stabbed to death last week. Several others were also injured in the attack. Today, the coroner said it was impossible to adequately articulate the devastating, lifelong effects of the truly tragic events.
Well, last night, Alice's family, teachers and friends held a memorial for the little girl, described as kind and caring. More on that in a moment, but first, Elaine Wilcox reports from the inquest at Bootle Town Hall.
This was described as a sombre, formal process to open and adjourn inquests into the deaths of Elsie, BB and Alice so that their parents can organise their daughters' funerals. The 30-minute hearing heard that 7-year-old Elsie was identified by police using her clothing and recent photographs. She was pronounced dead just before 2 o'clock, a week last Monday, when it's alleged that Axel Rudakabana, who turned 18 today, went to the organised dance party and started stabbing those there. The court heard there were 26 youngsters at that Taylor Swift-themed class at the start of the school holidays. 6-year-old BB King was pronounced dead just after 1 p.m, further along the street from the dance class. 9-year-old Alice Da Silva Aguiar was identified by her father Sergio and died at 1:20 the following morning at Alderhay Hospital. The coroner said it was impossible to adequately articulate the tragic events in which Elsie, BB and Alice cruelly lost their young lives. Julie Goulding said they were children who were full of life and energy, and her words were woefully inadequate to describe how much they will be missed, and sent her heartfelt condolences to the families. She issued the girls' death certificates today, and their funerals will be planned later this week.
Elaine Wilcox reporting from Bootle Town Hall there. Well, Alice Da Silva Aguiar's mum and dad carried her ballet shoes, cried and smiled at memories of their daughter in a memorial mass in Southport last night, a week on from the attack that took her life.
Family, friends and teachers read tributes to the 9-year-old in St Patrick's Church, saying she was a little girl who could cheer you up when you were down. Zoe Muldoon has this report.
Just over a week ago, their little girl was enjoying a dance class at the start of the summer holidays. Last night, mourners came together for a celebration of Alice Da Silva Aguiar's short life.
7 days after your little Alice flew home to heaven, we gather here with you to say, thank you, Alice. Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, Alexandra. We love you.
Alice was one of 3 girls killed at a mass stabbing in Southport. Her parents, Sergio and Alexandra, were joined by family, friends and the wider community to remember their kind and caring daughter. The pain and anguish of losing their only child etched on their faces, they bravely listened to tributes to their smiley girl.
Alice, we miss you so much, and it's only been a week. We will never forget you.
Family members fought back tears to share precious memories.
You were the pride and joy of our lives, and we will forever have you in our hearts.
Keep smiling and keep dancing with the girls. We miss you so much and we'll never forget you.
Alice's teachers shared messages from her classmates.
I remember how kind Alice is, and that she definitely wasn't annoying like some girls are.
St Patrick's Catholic Church is just a few miles from where Alice was killed. She and her family would attend Mass here regularly. Instead, prayers were said and hymns were sung in her memory.
In the midst of this horror and tragedy, we don't lose sight of the positive of their little darling who's so precious. The impression she's made in just 9 years. But also, it's really important, I think, for all of us. There's so much sadness from last Monday and Tuesday and beyond. It's important we celebrate the goodness.
Prayers were said too for BB King and Elsie Stancombe, who were also killed in the attack. The service, the first for the three girls, ended with a balloon release. Alice's funeral is on Sunday. As Southport continues to mourn, this was a chance for the community to stand together and support Alice's loved ones. A 9-year-old girl, so clearly very loved. Zoe Muldoon, ITV News.
Lancashire Police have said they know recent events have left some people worried about further riots and disruption.
The Greater Manchester Force has asked communities to remain calm and to try to go about everyday life.
In Liverpool today, there were jail terms for men charged after the recent disorder.
Tim Scott is at the city's Crown Court for us tonight. Tim.
Yes, and the three men jailed today were told by His Honour Judge Justice Meanery that their actions demeaned and disgraced the reputations of both Liverpool and Southport. The oldest defendant was 58-year-old Derek Drummond from Southport with previous convictions for violence. He pleaded guilty to violent disorder and punching a police officer last week at a disturbance outside Southport Mosque just a day after the stabbings. He'd been heard chanting, "This is our country" and "I'm England till I die" as he attacked police lines. Jailing Drummond for 3 years, the judge told him his actions weren't mindless thuggery because he'd actively chosen to get involved. The next defendant was Liam Riley, who's 41 and from Walton in Liverpool. He'd attended an event at the Pier Head last Saturday and then spent the rest of the afternoon drinking in 4 or 5 pubs. He was clearly drunk when he joined a 100-strong mob who confronted police at around 7 p.m. He was arrested after refusing to move. He pleaded guilty to violent disorder and racially aggravated threatening behaviour and was jailed for 20 months. The youngest defendant was Declan Gearan, described in court as having a personality disorder and not a clever man. He pleaded guilty to violent disorder and arson during the unrest in Liverpool city centre last Saturday afternoon. The 29-year-old of Kelso Road in Kensington was seen on CCTV calmly approaching a police van before setting the seatbelt alight. After his arrest, he told police he wanted to show support for the bereaved Southport families. He was jailed for 2.5 years. After the sentencing today, Jonathan Egan from the Crown Prosecution Service had this to say outside court.
Drummond, Riley and Gearan's actions would have caused panic, revulsion and chaos in their local communities. The 3 men sentenced today are the tip of the iceberg and just the start of what will be a very painful process for many who foolishly chose to involve themselves in violent unrest. Many of those involved will be sent to prison for a long time.
And Tim, you've been talking to one of the leaders at Liverpool's oldest mosque.
Yes, and earlier after sentencing today, I spoke to the Imam of the Abdullah Quilliam Mosque where there'd been a confrontation last Friday. He told me the events of the last week had made all communities, not just Muslim, uneasy and anxious.
I don't think it's just the Muslim community who are feeling scared and concerned, but they especially are. I think everybody is. You know, I spoke to somebody who's involved with youth groups and summer clubs, and he told me attendance is down to maybe 20% of what it would usually be. And that's probably on the back of the tragic stabbings in Southport. So everybody's affected right now. Everybody's on edge. But there have been specific incidents in which we're being told that the Muslim community is being targeted.
Meanwhile, it seems that more arrests, more prosecutions and possibly more jail sentences now seem inevitable for those involved in the disturbances in the weeks to come. And Gamal.
Tim Scott at Liverpool Crown Court, thank you.
A fundraising page set up to help replace books which were destroyed when a library in Liverpool was set on fire during riots of the weekend has raised almost £200,000. Spellow Lane Library Hub, which also houses a food bank, was targeted on Saturday night when dozens of people stormed the building. The original target of the online fundraiser was £500. The council says it has been overwhelmed by the generosity of the city's residents and those across the country who have donated.
In the past hour, police have released images of 14 people who they say may have information following the disorder on Merseyside. Officers say they believe they can assist their investigation. You can find out more on our website. That's itv.com/Granada. Still to come on the programme tonight.
From Chorley to Paris, the chef cooking up a storm in the Olympic Village.
And we're chasing sunshine amounts around at the moment, but one thing's for certain, it will be getting a good deal warmer to end this weekend. I'll have all the details in just a few minutes.
And here's Mary with the details of the ITV Evening News a little later.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, after a week of violence on our streets, thousands of specialist officers are mobilised tonight amid fears of more planned riots. As the first man to be sentenced over the initial violence in Southport is jailed for 3 years. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
An arts charity in Salford is trying to inspire children to take up creative careers by giving them a chance to make art for a gallery and create theatre shows to build their confidence.
Yes, In It's for Young People also helps some teenagers who are struggling to stay in education and keep their lives on the straight and narrow. Its founder turned his life around after discovering art while behind bars.
They say they're already giving youngsters money from art that sells, and they're planning to take the show on tour to theatres across the northwest.
Our correspondent Rob Smith went to meet them and one 16-year-old who's been helped to find her creative voice.
These are no run-of-the-mill artworks, and this is no run-of-the-mill art gallery in a shopping centre, nor is it a run-of-the-mill theatre space. More on that in just a tick. This is a place where kids can come to find their creative path, to get their art on the tables and on the walls, and also a place where children can find sometimes a better path in life. It's run by the In It for Young People charity. Last year alone in Salford, they kept 18 children from being excluded from school. Mickey Dax is the founder. Hello, Mickey. Thanks for your time in the middle of an art class. You know why this is so important, don't you?
I do, because as an ex-offender myself, I didn't have the best start in life. So I founded the charity on the basis of giving the most amazing creative opportunities for children to be freely expressive. An example of this is just a simple love heart that a young person created. Did the workshop and has already made £6.50 pocket money for herself, which doesn't seem like a lot of money, but you imagine being a teenager who's hungry, that could be a next meal.
Making a tangible difference. Mickey, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And not just a difference with behaviour, as we were talking about, but a difference in finding your artistic path, your creativity in life. Hannah, who's 16, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Hannah, while you're drawing and painting and whatnot. You came here, you got your artwork on the wall, somebody bought it. What does it feel like to know someone's got that in their house?
It's a real confidence boost, and it really increased my inspiration, to do more. Like, not just on a canvas, but I've also done sculpting, graphic design, posters, you name it.
Inspired you for a future in art by the sound of it.
Yes.
Hannah, thank you very much indeed. I mentioned theatre as well, didn't I? Come with me through here. This is the neighbouring shop unit, but it's not a shop now. It's a rehearsal and performance space kitted out with seats, props and lights from what was the Oldham Coliseum. Ange is directing here. Ange, I'm sorry to drag you away from that.
It's okay.
We already know about the difference that it makes to some of the kids that take part, but it's also about the kids in the audience too, because of the themes you're putting on stage.
Absolutely, and the feedback that we always get from the young people is that it allows them to put a mirror up to their own behaviours. It allows them to make better choices about who they're hanging around with, and basically their behaviours out on the streets at night, and that's the feedback we get from the adults and the professionals that work with them as well.
Ange, thank you very much
Thank
indeed
you.
for that. They are hoping to take this on a Northwest tour in not too long from now, so hopefully soon you'll see it in a theatre near you.
Fabulous.
Fabulous. We'll keep an eye out for that Northwest tour. Sounds good. OK, time for sport now. And Liverpool are targeting one of Spain's Euros winners. Here's David.
Yeah, with the Premier League season starting next week, could Martin Zubimendi be their first major signing under their new head coach Arne Slot? The 25-year-old midfielder has been identified as the main transfer target. He came on for Manchester City's Rodri in Spain's win over England in the final of the Euros. It's understood he has a buyout clause of £51 million with his current club Real Sociedad. Well, Liverpool kick off their new season away at Ipswich a week on Saturday. Now in Rugby League, St Helens have agreed to sign Australian Tristan Saylor from the NRL side Brisbane Broncos. The 26-year-old, who's the son of the legend Wendell Saylor, will join them for next year. Meanwhile, it was into one of the most important people behind the medals. Colin Smith from Chorley is currently in Paris making thousands of meals a day to feed athletes from all over the world, ensuring they get the right amount of energy to fuel their podium pursuits. Well, before he arrived in the Olympic Village, Chris Hall caught up with the chef who's now cooking up a storm in the culinary capital of the world.
They're pushing their bodies to their absolute limits. Their quest for Olympic immortality is being fueled by Colin, the Chorley chef who's setting the bar high for athletes by setting up the salad bar in the Athletes' Village and much more besides in the world's biggest restaurant.
How many athletes are you catering for out there?
So we've got 15,000 athletes throughout the games, serving 40,000 meals per day. So it's a big task.
So how many different recipes are you having to memorise?
We've got 500 dishes.
500 dishes you have to memorise?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to remember.
Cooking for sports stars is Colin's speciality. He already tackles the menu at Wigan's rugby and football clubs, as well as at Preston and Blackburn Rovers, whose players have had a taste of what's being served up in Paris.
There's a variety of athletes. You got the guys doing weightlifting, to the athletes doing the athletics, the vegan, the halal. Certainly a wide variety of nutritional value that they need to their intake is.
So tell me about the two dishes that you've prepared today.
So you've got the shakshuka, which obviously is a good source of protein, with the eggs. I've got harissa yogurt on there as well. My other dish was smoky garlic prawns with chilli.
Nutrition's like a massive part of obviously being an athlete. As the Olympics, you'll be doing running and stuff like that, so it's really important that you fuel well before what you're doing and fuel well afterwards as well. So.
How does this compare to your cooking?
A lot better. I'm not bad myself actually, but yeah, a lot better than me.
Well, I taught him everything he knows. So.
His sources are sustainable. A third of what Colin's cooking is plant-based, with 80% of it sourced from France, and all to help satisfy a hunger for medals.
To be able to at least contribute, certainly for Team GB, any of our athletes, as many in the Northwest, if we can give them that small marginal gain, we've given them that correct nutrition, the food intake at the right times, we've done our job.
While he can't guarantee his grub will bring glory, he promises no athlete ever sends it back. Chris Hall, ITV News.
Oh, I'm proper hungry now after seeing all that good food. There we go. And just sticking on the Olympics theme, big day tomorrow for one of our big medal hopefuls as well, Katarina Johnson-Thompson, two-time world heptathlon champion. She's never won an Olympics medal. Fingers crossed this is the year.
KJT, go for it.
Let's do it.
Thank you, David. Now, a visit to the doctors isn't usually high on our list of likes, and for children the experience can often be quite stressful and frightening.
But one centre in Blackpool has turned to the resort's long-standing love of the seaside to create a positive new experience for younger patients. Paul Crone has the details.
Sunshine and sea air are just what the doctor ordered. But if you are feeling under the weather, then a trip to the local health centre may be the cure. A little daunting if you're a child, and the medical environment can be scary. But here at the South Shore Primary Care Centre in Blackpool, a wave of genius has transformed a drab, dreary waiting room for children into an underwater sensory sea world. 6-year-old Ezra, who attends for speech and language therapy, is well on board with the idea.
Can you find me a jellyfish? Good. Can you find me a turtle? And finally, is there an octopus?
When we've been here before for one of his speech and language appointments, it was just a boring waiting room, and it can make children kind of like really anxious in terms of going to an appointment, even though we know nothing's wrong. And when he came in, he was just absolutely mesmerised by it all. Obviously, it's just so engaging for the kids, sensory-wise. He was just all over the place, looking at everything, kept him really entertained before his appointment.
The Sea Life Centre in Blackpool waded in with several new ideas to create a calming and therapeutic environment for children in the waiting areas, so youngsters are chilled before their appointments with speech therapists, physios, special nurses or school nurses.
They can be a little bit anxious when they come in, so it's made it a much more sensory and inviting space for them, and whilst they're waiting for that appointment they've got lots of things to look at, so it's been real transformation. It's been great.
So this is the place where children can relax before a medical appointment. And since it opened just a few weeks ago, the response has been, what? Oh, fantastic.
I think the whole aspect of an actual appointment, like he still thinks the doctors, they're just scared about the whole thing no matter how, you try and reassure them. And then the waiting beforehand can just make that situation 10 times worse. So when they're distracted in a room like this, it makes the world a difference.
Ezra can go back to ruling the high seas after he's seen the doctor. Paul Crone, ITV News, Blackpool.
The cronies jokes getting worse?
I was going to say a brilliant idea and rubbish jokes.
The 25th annual Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards takes place this year. It is always a special event with some of the most uplifting and selfless stories of unsung heroes.
And with your help, we'll be sending a special person to represent our region in the Fundraiser of the Year category. Here's Amrit Birdie to tell you more.
The best of British. It's safe to say the Pride of Britain Awards is firmly cemented in the hearts of the nation. It's the red carpet event where the stars come out to honour ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Each year, one fantastic fundraiser gets to represent our region and attend the awards in London. They're even in with a chance of winning the overall Regional Fundraiser of the Year award. Last year, our regional fundraiser was Vera Rogers, who has taken part in charity abseils, skydives and wing walks, all to raise money for St Luke's Hospice in Winsford. So if you'd like to nominate someone to be our Regional Fundraiser of the Year, you can head to our website. That's itv.com/Pride of Britain. You can only nominate individuals and they must be aged 18 or over. If you are under the age of 18, please get permission from a parent or guardian before you nominate. The closing date for nomination is Sunday the 11th of August, and full terms and conditions and our privacy notice can be found on our website. You never know, the Pride of Britain red carpet could be waiting for them.
It really could. Let's see what the weather has. Here's Joe.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello again, a very good evening to you. Temperatures will be up and down over the next few days, but tomorrow will be rather humid. Cloudy conditions and rain moving in from the southwest during the afternoon, clearing through to brighter skies for all of us on Friday. And through this weekend, the jet stream will be shifting position. That will allow a boost of what is very warm air across the continent to push up temporarily across the UK, giving us a hot couple of days on Sunday and Monday. That's them. This is now back to this evening. Bright for most of us to end the day. And then overnight tonight, showers will peter out, but there could be some low cloud, drizzle and mistiness here and there. And temperatures will stay in double figures. It's not a chilly night, 12 or 13 degrees. On to tomorrow's details then. First of all, the sun is up at 5:38 and it sets at 8:53. Could be a bright start where you are, but for the most part, it's a cloudy beginning here in the northwest tomorrow with bits and pieces of patchy showery rain for Cumbria, parts of North Lancashire and the Isle of Man. During the afternoon, a more significant rain band moves up across most places. 1 or 2 heavy bursts as it moves northwards, eastwards and away, and will leave behind low cloud, mistiness and a really humid, sticky feel, 20 or 21 degrees tomorrow despite the breeze. Now, that rain band begins to move northwards and eastwards quite quickly, so skies will brighten for Friday. A few showers here and there perhaps initially, but a decent end to the working week. Saturday there could be some early rain around, which will clear to showers. And then we're seeing things really warming up. Through Sunday and into Monday, temperatures could easily reach 25 or 26 Celsius for the northwest of England and the Isle of Man. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
25 or 26, that's very pleasant.
Is it going to happen though? That's the thing.
Teasing us. Bye-bye.